All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Happy New Year. I'd like to call this meeting to order. It is 1:20. Let's begin with the roll call of commission members. After I call your name, please say here present and confirm that you can see and or hear me. Commissioner Osmond. You're on mute. Still on mute. How about Commissioner Hughes?
Present, I can see and hear you.
All right. Commissioner Ponce.
I can see and hear you.
All right. And then Commissioner Osmond, I see you.
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay. That is, everybody is here. And in 2020, Governor Pritzker signed Public Act 101-0640, making certain amendments to the Open Meetings Act so that we, along with other boards and commissions, can continue to host virtual meetings during this COVID-19 public health emergency, provided that certain conditions are met. One of those conditions is that Chairman Wong of the Commission on Chicago Landmarks can determine that an in-person meeting of the Commission on Chicago Landmarks and its permanent review committee are not practical or prudent. I want to make sure our virtual meetings meet all the conditions of the Open Meetings Act as amended. Therefore, Chairman Wong has made a determination pursuant to Section 7E2 of the Open Meetings Act that an in-person meeting of this Commission on Chicago Landmarks and its permanent review committee are not practical or prudent. Similarly, he has also determined pursuant to Section 7E5 that because of the disaster as declared by the governor, it is infeasible for at least one member of the Commission on Chicago Landmarks or its chief administrative officer or its chief legal officer to be physically present at the meeting place for either meeting, in as much as there is no physical meeting place. Pursuant to a resolution adopted by the Chicago Commission on Chicago Landmarks on June 4th, 2020, regarding the chairman's emergency rulemaking powers, Chairman Wong issued emergency rules governing the conduct of remote public commission meetings and provisions for remote public participation effective January 19, 2021. These rules were posted on the commission's website. In line with these emergency rules, today's regular commission meeting is a virtual meeting being simulcast to the general public via live streaming. Commission meetings have been held virtually since May of 2020. Meetings are structured to minimize the chances for technical difficulties. Members of the general public have been encouraged to submit written statements in advance of the meeting, and these have been posted on the commission's website and are available for public view during the virtual meeting at www.chicago.gov/ccl. Members of the public desiring to speak at today's meeting were required to register before the meeting, and verbal statements by the public for all agenda items will take place at the beginning of the meeting. Applicants and their representatives, as well as aldermen, were asked to contact staff if they desire to speak, and they will be able to do so after the staff presentation on a specific project. One member of the general public has signed up to speak on agenda item 1, the project at 15 South Wabash. Please limit your comments to 2 minutes. Begin by stating your name and your association with the project. And for the record, may we please hear from Ward Miller.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good afternoon. Happy New Year, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. I'm Ward Miller, Executive Director of Preservation Chicago. And in this special case, I want to mention that I was also co-author of a book on Adler and Sullivan with Richard Nickel, Aaron Siskin, and John Vinci, a big 8.5-pound book. So this is a very special building to me personally, as well as the larger architectural community. And I'm referring to the Jewelers Building, originally built as the S.A. Maxwell & Company store, located at 1519 South Wabash, one of the Martin Ryerson developments of 1881 by Adler and Sullivan, and the earliest building, which still remains, by Dankmar Adler and Louis Sullivan in the world. So a highly significant structure, and we've been so captivated and just honored by its restoration of its ground floor facade, the replacement of the cast iron. This has just been a fabulous project, and we just wanted to again thank the commission, the city, the ownership, and all the partners that have been involved in making this restoration so very beautiful. And we also want to encourage the continued restoration of the building at the second floor, where the two cast iron columns have been enclosed by a glass window wall, to have that restored, because currently it sort of diminishes the vertical impact and clarity of this structure, the earliest structure by Adler and Sullivan. So this would really restore the vertical thrust of the building, which is so important, as well as the rhythm that one sees when they look at the structure and that verticality by glassing in those windows at the second floor, which was done decades ago, has really impacted the building. But again, we're all going in the right direction. So realizing the signage on the building, I believe that we are okay with it. It's, the less signage on this particular building, the better. It's a very special structure, and it needs to be handled in the most sensitive way and with the utmost care. So wherever one of these vertical blade signs could be diminished or eliminated, well, we just want to encourage that. However, we want this building to be functional. We appreciate the commitment of the ownership to restore the building, and we understand the limitations of this. However, we wanted to share all of these different perspectives with you on this very special day. And again, a wonderful project overall with its restoration, and you have our support for whatever needs to be done to help keep this building among the most useful and most visited sites on Wabash Avenue, and also part of the Adler and Sullivan legacy. Thank you.
Oh, good timing. Thank you, Mr. Miller. That was a very good statement. That is all of the speakers who have signed up to speak for the Permit Review Committee meeting. So we will now go through the agenda, and we'll start with the approval of the minutes from the previous meeting, which was the meeting of December 2nd, 2021. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes that were circulated?
So moved.
So moved by Commissioner Ponce. Do we have a second?
Seconded, Commissioner Hughes.
Commissioner Hughes has seconded, and we'll do the roll call. Commissioner Osman?
Yes, I approve.
Commissioner Osman is a yes, and I'm a yes, and the motion carries unanimously. And now we will go to the first project and only project on the agenda, 1519 North Wabash or Sauce? North Wabash in the Jewelers Building. Proposed new signage, including 2 new 3x10 non-illuminated blade signs, 4 white vinyl graphics, and transom sign. And this is in the 42nd Ward. Alderman Riley, can we call on Larry Shore?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you mentioned, this is a review for proposed signage. Now, because some of these signs are above 24 feet above grade, they also require City Council approval. And when that is required, the signage also needs to go to the Permit Review Committee. So we're presenting all of the signs proposed just to give you a clear impression of the overall signage for this building. You can see this photo on the right shows the building prior to the recent restoration work. There was this sort of strange rounded sign up in the corner. There was a large banner here. You can see all of these awnings. There was also a large sign and a canopy sort of on the south end of the building, and you can just catch a glimpse of that. And then the next slide is a little bit better comparison showing the building prior to restoration, and then how it currently looks. So let's move on to the slide after that. And this shows the sign package. The ones outlined in red are these non-illuminated blade signs on the second floor. The ones in green are these vinyl signs, either in the upper sash on the second floor or on that sort of chamfered corner above the first floor transom. And then there is sort of an individual letter sign, which are letters attached again to a transom window on that first floor. So the next slide is just sort of a little summary of the dimensions. They're about 3 feet wide and 10 feet tall. They're flat aluminum panels with vinyl graphics, and they are attached at the mortar joints of the red face brick rather than to the Joliet limestone, which is above and below. The commission has previously approved of blade signs that are 24 feet above grade, particularly when those signs relate to businesses on the upper floors. In this case, the second floor location also avoids impacting the replicated storefront elements on the first floor. The thickness, as I mentioned, is 4 inches, and that's also consistent with previously approved blade signs for landmark buildings. This next slide just kind of shows the overall dimensions of those window cling signs, which range in length from 14 inches to 18 inches. I'm sorry, that's the height. The lengths range from 40 to 55 inches, and we're recommending approval of these as submitted. And then this is a little bit more unusual. These are actually dimensional individual letters attached to a transom window through a special adhesive tape. We're also recommending approval of this, even though I believe this is the first time I've seen this type of treatment. But the nice thing about it is that it retains the transparency of the window and also gives a little more emphasis to the signage. That's about it. The staff recommendations are below, but I kind of touched on them already. This was kind of a short presentation. I do want to say that the sign contractor is on the call if you have questions for him. If you have questions about my presentation, I'd be glad to take those as well.
Thank you, Larry. Before we hear from the applicant, do we have the commissioners have any questions for Larry? Seeing none. I guess before we go to the signage contractor, Larry, do you know any history on the discussions on the second floor window? And I know that's not what we're reviewing today, but I'm just curious. Is that something?
Yeah.
I know this is an award-winning project, so I was just curious about that.
Yeah, it's we definitely would have supported that if the owner had proposed it. But typically, yeah, it wasn't proposed. And even the National Park Service wouldn't require that to happen as a condition of tax credits. Basically, we review the scope of work that's proposed and make sure that that meets our guidelines. And in this case, we were able to get a stunning storefront replication, but second floor windows were not a part of the project.
Okay, thank you. Maybe please hear from the applicant, Frank Lambert.
Present. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, just to add to what Larry mentioned, we've gone through our proper channels with the Chicago Loop Alliance, and also Alderman Riley signed off and got a letter of support. We've done some things where we actually narrowed the blade sign. We're not doing anything illuminated, and I think everything is kind of consistent with what's on that Wabash corridor. There's nothing out of the ordinary. We are limited with wall space. That's why we are above 24 feet above grade on the second level. And that's about it. And that's why we actually had to hit the windows versus putting things that are on the limestone or the brick.
Thank you. Commissioners have any questions? Seeing none. Any other final points of discussion?
I do not have any other final points.
With that, I think we can, I'd like to request a motion to approve the staff recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And seconded by Commissioner Osman.
Thank you, Commissioner Ponce. Thank you, Commissioner Ponce made the motion, seconded by Commissioner Osman. Let's take the roll call. Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes is a yes. I'm a yes. The motion carries unanimously. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for your time. Have a good rest of the day.
You too. There being no further business, I'd like to request a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Hughes, seconded. Do we have a second?
Commissioner Osman.
Seconded by Commissioner Osman. Roll call, Commissioner Ponce.
Yes.
Commissioner Ponce, yes, I'm a yes. That motion carries unanimously. Thank you all so much. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Have
I
a
hope
great.
to see you one day in person.
It seems like it's going to happen, right?
See what
Uh,
it's like not doing this virtually.
I think we're all ready, right? All right. Well, thank you all so much. Have a
Thank
great
you.